welcome to Cloud Wars Live. We are discussing the digital revolution that's taking place all around us in the business world, in our personal lives, and everywhere in between. And that in-between space seems to be shrinking a little these days. But I think that's a sign of progress here in our world. We're delighted to have today our friends from DoiT have a sponsored episode today of Cloud Wars Live. And we're with Thomas Bush, who's the ISV Program Manager for DoiT. Thomas, welcome to Cloud Wars Live.
Thanks, Bob. Happy to be here.
So Thomas, you were saying just before we started here, there's a global expansion underway for your company. So it seems you're burning the candle at both ends these days.
Yeah, we're pretty busy. We're having fun, and we're keeping pace and trying to be the tip of the spear with a couple different regions and a couple clouds, and we're having a great time.
That is fantastic, sir. Well, Thomas, I know one of the things that you were keen to talk about here, it's so interesting, you know, as the world in the last 2 or 3 years, the business world has moved so aggressively toward the cloud. One of the things that's changed there is in some ways the procurement policies, right? And the ways that ISVs and their customers access software. So as some of the big cloud providers have developed these marketplaces like AWS and Google Cloud, there's a whole new way that software is provided in some ways, and that's caused some changes up and down. DoiT has jumped in with some pretty interesting new solutions for ISVs. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Bob. The market conversation, the marketplace conversation is a bit like an iceberg. I think if you were to look at where it falls into the AWS and Google Cloud pages, you'd see it as part of the greater whole, but you wouldn't necessarily immediately understand the gravity and the mass of what is happening with these marketplaces. So I think to start with context, it's like, let's talk about the iceberg. And the iceberg is that AWS and Google Cloud are doing a fantastic job of creating incentives and changing the way the companies buy software. And this is fundamentally different than what we've experienced for many years, where most software has been purchased direct. And I think the closest analogy is probably saying, think about back when books were not bought on Amazon. And today, my default is if someone tells me about a book, without thinking, I go to Amazon.com and I look at reviews and I look to buy it and send it to my Kindle. So that same transition of buying behavior with unique incentives for procurement people is shifting the way billions of dollars are being spent. And they're being spent through Google Cloud Marketplace and AWS Marketplace. So I would say a lot of our ISVs are coming to us saying, hey, we're hearing this from our customers that they only want to buy from us if we can offer through these marketplaces. And so as a response to that, and from our relationship with the cloud vendors, we go, yeah, this is a huge opportunity both to serve our clients and to provide technical proficiency to say, hey, we're going to provide some pretty unique tools and consulting experts that know the ins and outs of really how to get listed and published and what to look out for along the way.
Well, Thomas, that iceberg analogy used is a great one, but also it seems that at the same time, you know, like icebergs, generally we perceive them to move slowly, but there's a lot going on here. This seems like something that has come awfully fast. And you know, you're not talking about a small marketplace off the side. You said this is billions of dollars involved here. So this is going to be, I think, very important here as you sort of lay out here. How does this change affect ISVs? How does it affect their customers? And it seems we're right at the beginning of this trend. Would you say is that a fair assessment?
I would say we're still in the early adoption phase, for sure. I'll take a step deeper into why this is happening at such a fast pace, and that's a good call out. The incentives that are driving this are that when most software companies, especially digital natives that have relationships with AWS and Google Cloud, the benefits that they get are often tied to a total commitment agreement to say, we will spend X amount over the next 3 years under the Google Cloud umbrella or within Google Cloud, or similarly within AWS. And so the more money that gets committed to be spent in that umbrella, the more benefits are given. Yeah. And so what's happening is that the clouds very shrewdly said, well, if we can get people to buy through our marketplace, we'll give them credit that counts against this larger commitment. And so if really the core drive of a procurement manager or IT strategist is to say, hey, let's maximize the incentives and the benefits we're getting from our really the crown jewels, our cloud deployment, then we want to put leverage on that and get more by buying other software through these marketplaces. And so procurement folks are being told, hey, if you're going to buy third-party software to extend, improve, or whatever else that's maybe not offered directly by Google Cloud or an AWS, if you're going to buy software, you have to buy it through the cloud marketplace, because that helps burn down the commitment. It helps keep the relationship healthy with Google and with Amazon. And so increasingly, new logos are telling our customers, we can only buy from you if you're listed on the marketplace.
Okay. So then, Thomas, it seems like an ideal time to look at one of the differentiators that DoiT brings to this new dynamic in the marketplace, because what you've talked about primarily with AWS and Google Cloud, those marketplaces, is there's a volume commitment and discounts involved, but the business world's changing so fast and the customer requirements are changing so fast. It seems like there's a need for them to have more than discounts are nice, but they need to have flexibility and that nimbleness to meet emerging requirements of their customers. Is that the place where DoiT steps in and offers some additional value for ISVs?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So the conversation typically starts with, hey, our customers recognize there's a massive need to get on the marketplace. And so as technical experts and consulting them through opening a new sales channel, the natural evolution of that becomes, hey, now that you've helped us unlock new revenue potential, a brand new distribution channel, what can you also do to help us fill that channel? Yeah. And so it's this fundamental shift from the old way of thinking, which was, if I spend $1 million, will you give me 5% off? And this new way of thinking is, because I'm spending $1 million with you, how can you help me grow? Because ultimately, that's what, in this climate, that's what boards are looking for. That's what the executive teams are looking for. It's growth. So when our team came together and said, how do we make this program and this interaction with our customers more valuable, more scalable than it's ever been, we said, let's have the growth conversation. And let's move away from a discount conversation to say, what are the ways that we can meaningfully help our customers grow? A second ago, you talked about staying nimble and staying agile, and that's fundamental to this growth conversation, right? Because a discount tended to be pretty static. It was like, we'll give you this discount, and then that's it for the next 3 years. We're not really going to talk about it again. We locked it in the contract, right? The growth conversation is so different because quarter over quarter, priorities can change, verticals can change. The ideal customer profile will change over time, depending on a new product release or depending on what the priorities are. And so when we thought about what can we do that's most valuable, knowing that rate of change and rate of growth, we thought about a couple of incentives that I think are pretty different from what's offered typically in the market. One of those is what we call go-to-market funds. And it's really a more expansive, hopefully more flexible adaptation on MDF. So a lot of times MDF, marketing development funds, were offered to say, hey, if you use an approved agency or if you jump through these hoops, then we'll reduce your cloud bill. So our approach is to widen that and say, we trust that our strategic customers know what's best for their business in the moment. And so being able to tell them, hey, we will reimburse you for any revenue related expense up to a certain amount. giving the freedom and the power back to our customer to make those decisions in real time and know that we're going to fill up the bucket and add fuel towards what already is working. So especially our customers who have mature go-to-market strategies say, if you can increase our ad spend in this way, or if you can help us utilize this agency that we know and love in a greater way, that is far more meaningful for our growth than getting a 3% discount.
Yeah.
Now, there's other customers that come to us and say, we've got a strong ad platform. We've got great proficiency in certain areas, but ultimately we need leads. We need someone to have a strategy session with us and to put together a dedicated outbound effort. So again, we took a step back and said, how can we offer lead generation to customers in a way that's scalable, that's agile, that meets different cultures in different regions in the way they need to be met? That could be us creating our own machine and building thousands of SDRs to serve thousands of customers. And the direction that we chose to go, which I think is a little more elegant, is saying, let's find and vet out the best agencies in the world that specialize in this B2B SaaS lead generation motion. Let's find the ones that are best at certain verticals. Let's find the ones that are best in certain continents, so that when our customers say, hey, we have a gap and we suspect that there's a unique opportunity for us with this vertical in this region, do you know who could help? Instead of us pretending like we're experts at that, it's saying, hey, here's a stable of agencies. And what DoiT will bring to the table then is say, here's a couple agencies that we think are probably best given what you've shared with us. Pick one of these agencies to work with, and DoiT will fund the engagement with that agency. So DoiT will step in and choose to fund a lead generation engagement on behalf of our customers as part of this larger commitment that they're making to Google Cloud. So being able to say, we're not going to give you a 3% discount. We're going to deliver leads that your team can then work to close. I mean, that is a fundamental shift in the value that we can bring as a MSP that's 80% engineering headcount.
Yeah. Yeah, Thomas, I was going to say something quite similar there that is so outside the general profile of what company, what all of us have come to think of. Well, MSPs do this, and there's a certain box or category that people want to sort of circumscribe. MSPs do this, they don't get into this other stuff. So you're breaking a mold here, sort of moving into, new times demanding new models, new outlooks, and so on. And I love the point you made there about, the discount programs in and of themselves, they're great, but it's like, okay, you get this much and the duration is 3 years. Well, the world's pretty different today than it was 3 years ago. And I think the point that you made about quarter to quarter, there are incremental changes. There can be some big changes. There's new opportunities. There's new possibilities. So for you to give this new type of flexibility in a more agile, nimble, short duration way seems to align perfectly with what the business world is sort of all about today.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. And I think that falls in line so well with how DoiT has always gone to market. And I think it's why we're the largest MSP and partner for Google Cloud, is that we've taken this approach of saying, let's bring flexible approaches and flexible insight back to our customers and help them understand what's possible and how to remain agile in ways that they might not if they worked direct. And there's fantastic teams at Amazon and Google, don't get me wrong. In fact, even within the marketplace conversation, there are great ISV solution experts that are doing co-sell work within the Google ecosystem, within the Amazon ecosystem. So everything that we're doing is meant to augment, to say, yes, and what if there was even more flexibility? What if there was even more opportunity for growth benefits? And I think within that conversation around how can we provide unique flexibility and unique agility, unique insight, I mean, that holds true when we talk about our cloud management platform, when we talk about FlexSave, discounts and benefits. as well as the ISV program and the growth benefits built into that.
Well, Thomas, I think that example you just gave, that it's an extension of what Google Cloud Marketplace and AWS Marketplace are doing. And it represents, I think, one of the reasons why, it was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, we heard a lot of predictions saying the cloud is going to kill the partner ecosystem because there won't be any need for integration anymore. And that was just such an absurdly wrong prediction. Now, I've never seen a time when all the major tech vendors were more eager to build very, very vigorous, thriving ecosystems now. So partners like DoiT are more important than they have ever been before. But that comes only if they are able to build in the sorts of additional enhancing value-added requirements and capabilities that you're talking about. So that seems to be the right way to go. They don't want somebody coming in and saying, okay, all I can do is take the Google discount and offer a little bit more of a discount. I mean, there's a point at which there's not a value in that, but you're bringing a new set of capabilities that I think enhance what AWS Marketplace and Google Cloud Marketplace are doing, and driving the new sorts of value as you've described to your customers. So it seems like a perfect match.
Yeah, we're in a great place right now in terms of on both sides. We have the cloud vendors publicly saying this year, both Amazon executives and Google Cloud executives saying, we're doubling down with our partner push. Our partner ecosystem is the core of our growth. Announcing that to the street and saying, this is the direction we're headed. It is partner centric. So on one side, we have that. And on the other side, customers are saying, we absolutely love how Amazon works for our business. We love how Google Cloud scales globally with us. Can you help us make that more flexible? Can you help us scale that globally? So there's high expectations on both sides. And the best we can do is show up and honor that and say, we're going to drive unique value for our customers that they wouldn't necessarily get elsewhere. And we're going to drive unique consumption growth and adoption growth for our cloud partners so that they know, hey, this customer was taken care of in a unique hands-on way that is above and beyond what we might have been able to do direct.
Yeah. Thomas, that's a point I've been making in some other forums recently about it, that this rise of the partner ecosystem for all the big cloud vendors, there's a lot of reasons. You just, very eloquently outlined some of those. The other part is just the sheer mass of the opportunity that exists, right? Even for these, massive cloud companies, there's no way they could develop a direct sales force big enough to cover everything. So they need to have these highly capable, differentiated, customer-oriented partner ecosystem. So that just it just makes perfect sense what you've described. And Thomas, I wanted to ask you, a few minutes ago, you talked a little bit about the go-to-market funds program that DoiT has. And you just briefly mentioned the FlexSave program. Could you talk a little bit more about FlexSave and what that offers?
Yeah, absolutely. Our FlexSave product is a way for customers, I'm going to maybe sound like a broken record here, but maintain a certain flexibility and agility that they wouldn't necessarily get specifically in the way of getting in the Google Cloud universe committed use discounts, and in the Amazon universe, reserved instances or discounts from reserved instances. So what we essentially do is, because of our volume and because of our size, we have a way that we can offer those discounts to our customers and allow them to retain month-to-month flexibility on the machine types that they utilize. So typically, without FlexSave, you'd have to commit to a specific service type or machine type. And you would say, we will use this amount of these machines, or we'll commit to this amount for a year, for even 3 years. And going back to your point earlier, things are changing so quickly that we realize customers say, hey, wouldn't it be perfect if I could get the discount, but still have the flexibility so that if a new machine type comes around, or if my business changes, that I'm not necessarily on the hook for this. So using our proprietary technology, we say, hey, we'll manage that and pass on the discount and make sure that you're able to maximize the agility that your infrastructure team has, so that you can stay nimble and address whatever comes your way. So it's uniquely offered to our customers that have committed to do it. And it's a fantastic program, just as a standalone, apart from our consultants, our management platform, the ISV program. There's some folks that are listening to this going, marketplace ISV, like maybe, but FlexSave, absolutely need that today.
Yeah.
And I think the ISV program is still in that early adoption phase where we're going to see it become more and more mainstream. But FlexSave is a fantastic way for all of our customers today to opt in.
Yeah. Thomas, it's, as we begin to wind down here, I just wanted to say that, a long time ago when, I was about your age, I remember there were still companies doing things like saying, we have our 5-year plan, we have our 7-year plan. And there's nothing wrong with that. At the time, maybe it was the right thing to do. But what you've emphasized here a few different ways, I think very effectively, is the world of business is changing today so rapidly and so dramatically in a very short period of time, that this sense of flexibility that DoiT offers across programs, across incentives, across opportunities, that just seems to match up so well with what the world needs right now. Right in not 5 or 7 years, but as you say, 3 years seems like a long time. 2 years, 1 year, but quarter to quarter, month to month, it seems to be what business people need right now, because the world outside of them and their customers are changing so fast. So that again is very impressive. And Thomas, I wanted to just ask, as we wrap up here, is there anything that you wanted to be sure to add, or anything that you'd like to share about where DoiT is headed?
Yeah, I think we're always looking for, how can we bring max value to our customers? How can we honor the trust that the cloud vendors have put in us by introducing us to some of their most strategic customers? The way that we help companies list, publish, integrate into marketplace is absolutely cutting edge compared to what most folks have to deal with if they try to go at it alone. Mm-hmm. I think that, to your point about how quickly things can change, there really is an elegance with the way that Google and Amazon have set up their marketplaces, where the ability to burn down a commitment underneath the umbrella, maximizing the benefits possible, but also having the agility to start with, for example, a certain cybersecurity company that's maybe offered direct from Amazon, and then saying, no, I think we want to switch over because this new product came out from a different cybersecurity company. That the fact that our customers can now then go procure that through the marketplace and still get credit against their Amazon contract, it's pretty cool and gutsy, because it puts pressure on Amazon, and Google Cloud are putting pressure on themselves and their own product teams to be even sharper than they've ever been. Because let's take a CDN, for example, if Google CDN is at a certain point, and suddenly customers who have a commitment could also use Fastly. Mm-hmm. And if Fastly starts to take away a lot of that spend and all of it is still going through the marketplace, I would guess that the Google Cloud CDN team is going to hear about that. And so there is this great competition that's going to make everyone better. It's going to raise the tide across the board. So it's fun to get to be a part of it. And it's fun that as everything is getting funneled into these marketplace conversations, that you're seeing both benefits get better for customers, options get better for customers, and the competition around who needs to be competing where gets much clearer. So it is like a nice, the marketplace is getting more mature. It's becoming more sophisticated with these marketplaces. And DoiT leading the way with the marketplace integration and publishing, there's no better place for us to be, because our customers that are looking for hyper growth have to opt into this. So if we can be the ones to help them get there faster than they would get there otherwise, then that is so valuable and is so top of mind when our executives are saying, how can we help customers grow? Because that's what matters. So if we can be a part of the core infrastructure, cloud deployment, the efficiency, cost control conversation, and all of a sudden we get to help drive growth for our customers, that is a uniquely valuable marriage of like what we're bringing to our customer relationships. So I couldn't be more excited and happy to connect with you and talk through it. So always appreciate your insights.
Thomas, thanks. I really loved your points there about the competition making everybody better. What we say all the time here at Cloud Wars is that a lot of the tech vendors are going to win in the Cloud Wars, but the real winners are the customers, because this incredible, relentless competition, as you said, making everybody better and forcing the companies to think about not just better technology, but also better go-to-market programs and better ways to drive more value to customers. So it's a very, very exciting time now. And thank you so much, Thomas, for sharing your thoughts on this.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bob. Talk to you soon.
Okay. And folks, thanks to all of you for being with us here at Cloud Wars Live. This was Thomas Bush, the ISV Program Manager at DoiT, talking about some of the very cool things they're doing today. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.